Hello, welcome to our webinar, Driving Growth with Real-Time Data. I'm Hank, just here to tell you, if there's any sort of delay or technical difficulty, let us know in the questions. You can also ask questions anytime, and I will be bringing those up with Jake if he doesn't answer them within a minute or so. Questions are delayed by a couple dozen seconds, so sorry if we don't answer them immediately. And we'll have open Q&A at the end. Cool, and Jake's our VP of Sales here at Grow, and I'm excited to have him here. He's a fantastic storyteller, so I'll just let him go. Here you go, Jake.
Hey, guys, I'm super excited to share with you some of our learnings over this past year that has really accelerated our growth. I don't know that I'm an excellent storyteller, but I do want to start with sharing a story about one of my childhood heroes. I don't know how many of you recognize this guy on the screen here, but his name's Dale Murphy. He played in the 80s. You guys most likely recognize him if you watch any baseball at all, because the Turner Network broadcasted every Braves game. And so if you wanted to watch the Red Sox and you were in Seattle, you most likely watched them play the Braves, or if you wanted to watch the Yankees and you were in San Diego, you most likely watched them play the Braves. So some of you may have had some exposure to this guy. But this is a pretty confounding story. Let's go through Dale Murphy's accomplishments throughout the 80s. So he's a back-to-back two-time MVP, five-time Golden Glove winner. You can read the rest of those. I won't go through all of them for you. But another one is he led the major leagues in RBIs and in home runs for a decade straight, from 81 to 90. But the confounding thing is he's not in the Hall of Fame. He has not made the Hall of Fame. Why not? How is that possible? Maybe he should have taken some steroids like the other guys in the 80s, but he didn't. He's not in the Hall of Fame. But there's one highlighted area here that a lot of experts say is a major reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame, and not only in the Hall of Fame, but a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is he had 398 career home runs. You might be wondering, hey, 398 sounds, I don't even know if that sounds good or that sounds bad. But they say he's too shy. If he would have hit just 2 more home runs throughout his career, he could have been in the Hall of Fame. Now, had he known that, what would have he done differently? Maybe he would have played through some injuries. Maybe he would have had some more aggressive at-bats. Maybe he would have taken those steroids. But the reality of this story is he wasn't focused on the Hall of Fame. I'm sure he was focused on winning. But over a long career, the outcome, right? We all focus on winning. We all focus on doing what we think is best. But over a long career, they didn't have visibility into what would have made him go down in history into the Hall of Fame. So kind of relating this to ourselves here, do we know the score? Are we 2 hits away from the Hall of Fame? Do we know what we're playing for? Do we know what the score is? And when we know what the score is, people typically play to win a little bit better. So I'm just sharing this slide with you so you can understand, hey, we're in hyper-growth phase. I hate when people tell me, they give me advice on how to do something. I'd rather hear your experiences and figure out from those experiences, what can I take and how can I apply that to my business. So I'm going to hopefully stick with that route today. Here's 3 lessons I want to cover. How our culture was changed over the past year, the competition factor, and lessons from making real-time data decisions that have really contributed to our 7X growth and counting this year. So I'm here onto our dashboard. This is a dashboard that's displayed in our office. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller so you can see more of the dashboard. But there's about 9 different metrics on here. And by the way, so we're going to talk about how this changed our culture. Culture is a buzzword, and it's out there, and I don't know about you guys, but what makes for a good culture for me is winning. All the other stories, all the other parts are kind of ancillary to it, but winning is really what we want to try to accomplish in our business, and that can mean a lot of different things, but that's what we tried to focus on. So we had our yearly planning in 2015, and we set some goals that I thought at the time were far beyond our capacity to achieve, but everyone came back and we rallied around it. And our main goal was here in the top left-hand corner, which is MRR and ACV. What's our new monthly recurring revenue as a SaaS company going to be at the end of the year? Like I said, everyone contributed to this. This was our rally metric. Everyone in the company focused around that. They sacrificed their opinions, their wants, their desires, their time, their comfort to everybody to achieve to that goal. And what I mean by that is we didn't have this culture of, a necessary tension between departments where some of the past companies has been at where sales would sell something and then development would come over and be like, hey, how are we supposed to give the customer that, or how are we supposed to achieve this goal or that outcome? Those conversations change where development will come to sales, and looks like you guys are doing excellent this month. We've sold 100 new customers already. What are these customers asking for that we don't have inside of the product, and how can I give that to them? So that's how our culture changed. Like I said, everyone rallied around the metric. The next dashboard I want to show you is one that was phenomenal for us here. And let me just pull it up for us. I have a hard time talking and typing at the same time, so I apologize for a slight delay there. This is our sales dashboard. So I mentioned that story about Dale Murphy early on. It so happens that his son, Jake Murphy, works for us as well. He was a college athlete. He played in the NFL. And now he works for us on the sales team as well as a lot of other ex-college athletes. And one of the main metrics that we focus on was this competition metrics. I told you about that planning session, and I thought, hey, we need a little bit more urgency in the sales department. So we put this metric up on a TV right in front of the sales team, and it was amazing. In January of this year, our individual sales reps more than doubled what they did the month prior or the month prior to that. It wasn't just a December to January thing. It was any month previous. Like, everybody had more than doubled. And a lot of guys, I asked them, I pulled them, hey, what contributed to our growth? And they're like, I do not want to lose to the guy sitting next to me. Like, that doesn't mean I want the guy next to me to fail. What it means is I want to succeed just a little bit more than him. And I was one of those reps, and I had that same feeling where, hey, if I was at the top of the leaderboard, I'm not going to leave that day if someone leapfrogged me. I'm going to make a few extra calls. I'm going to find a few extra people who I think would be good fits for Grow, and I'm going to reach out to them cold, or whatever it is. I'm going to put in that much extra effort to make sure that I stay at the top of that leaderboard. So the competition factor was huge for us. You see our dashboard here. There's a lot of other metrics on it, but this one in the top left-hand corner, new monthly recurring revenue this month. So if you're saying those numbers, Parker has sold 4,200. That doesn't seem like very much. We'll times that by 12, and halfway through the month, he's doing okay. And anyway, so I'll get back to the presentation instead of defending some of those metrics here. Anyways, the next one is a little bit more in depth. It's our sales funnel. This is the one where we actually made decisions based off of it, and there's 3 sub-stories with this one that I want to walk through. So this is an actual metric that's on our dashboard in exploratory mode. And you'll see here that there's 5 stages of the sales. The only one that we have highlighted for it is total leads, so you can toggle those on or off. But the next one is how many demos do we have set, how many demos we given opportunities and closed, and that will all be important as we talk about the different sales cycles. So the first part of the sales stage that we tracked was leads to demos set. Out of all the leads, how many were actually getting demos? And the story here goes that our marketing team was like, hey, we want to help you guys convert those better into demos. So we're going to focus on the quality of the leads. And so you'll notice here in the highlighted section, we reduced leads by 30%, but if you'll see those numbers behind it on the top, it didn't actually matter. We converted the same amount, and so we went back to the tactics that worked, and we were able to do this in real time. I mean, there was a 3-week data set here, but that's a lot quicker than a lot of other companies that I've been at. The next one that we focused on was the demo given ratio. Out of all of the demos that were set, how many actually kept their appointments? So you'll notice here, the start of this, we made and kept a change. That was, how do we get people who have already committed to seeing a demo to actually keep their appointment and show up? We maybe could use some of those tactics here. We had a few hundred people registered for the demo or for the webinar, and not as many people came to the webinar. And so what we decided was, hey, we needed to get them a little bit more committed, a little bit more involved in what they wanted to do. So we sent them a piece of homework assignment, which is basically 3 questions that they could answer. And these 3 questions would be able to give them not only give our reps a little bit more information on going into the demo, but it also gave them one more piece of commitment along the way, and it increased our overall show rate by 55%. And again, we use that in real-time data. We would have made changes back had we not had that. So let's go to the next section of this, which is of our sales stage, which is demos to opportunities created. Now, this one's super interesting to me. So we decided to move all, and this might be dumb or obvious to you guys, but it was kind of non-obvious to us. We wanted to move all of our inbound leads to a qualification team who would qualify the lead and then pass it back to the account executive. Sounds like something pretty standard. But interestingly enough, this was a lagging indicator for us, one that was actually probably the hardest to recognize, that we reduced our opportunities by 32% over that 6-week period of time. We're like, what in the world is going on? We couldn't figure it out. And like, hey, our CEO actually put out like, oh, well, you made that change around then to give it to them. And I thought, hey, there's no way that could be the issue. Anyway, so we switched it back. We gave all inbound leads and a round robin to our account executives. And what we learned from this was that our potential customers liked to work with one point of contact. They wanted someone who they could work with from start to finish, from qualification all to the end. They really wanted to build a relationship and have somebody understand their business, understand their data, which I'm sure all of you know is pretty complicated, and move them all the way through the sales cycle. So for our inbound leads, that was one of the best learning experiences we had for us. I wish I had those 6 weeks back. I wish I had never made that change, but it was something that we tested and we had the data on in real time, and we're able to see that. So the next one that we track is opportunity to close. Luckily, our opportunity to close ratio has stayed the same, so I don't have any learnings from that one, but if we do track that in real time, if it had changed, we would do that. So the cool thing about this, and I'm not going to go into a pitch on Grow, I just want to share the more customer experiences, is we're not alone in this. We see this with our customers over and over again, and we see it in the industry, that people who use a business intelligence or who use dashboards have similar experiences. Now, we've 7x our growth. There's been other factors to that. We'll 3 or 4x our growth again next year, but most people have 50% faster revenue growth. They have 126% higher profits than their competitors. They get 13-to-1 ROI on any dollar that they spend on business intelligence. So why grow? Really quick. You want something, you want it customizable, you want it to be real insights into your business, but you don't want to make this a huge project. We're 8 times faster than anybody else. We have over 100 native integrations. So if you have a data source where your data is living, most likely we work with it. If you don't, most likely we can. And then the last piece is really, really powerful, which is unlimited users, real-time updates, and access anywhere. You know, it doesn't really make sense for you to have a user-based platform if you're trying to get engagement and trying to get everyone rallied around the same metrics and focusing on that. So Grow gives that to you. We're one of the few platforms out there that does it that way. And then the last piece of, I guess I don't like advice, but one recommendation is don't forget what success looks like. Start small, focus on a few things, to increase your sales and your overall revenue. So that's my presentation today. I want to open it up for questions if anybody has any. If not, then we can end it, but we'll wait just a few seconds here to see if there's any questions that pop in.
First question, this is live today. What is today? The 15th. So we'll be sending the recording to all attendees and anyone else who registered later this afternoon. So we had a couple questions about that. And we'll give a few more seconds for other questions. But yeah.
Yeah, and I went through the presentation super quick, but I know that there's some details behind some of the changes that we made and how we learned from them and our culture shift and everything like that. So if you guys have any questions on that, my email is jake@grow.com. I would be happy to talk with any of you individually about what we did. Now, I'm not going to brand myself as some sales savant, but we've done very well here, and I've done very well at some past companies, so I'd love to, and I always like to hear what other companies are doing to increase their sales as well. And so if you ever want to have any conversations like that, the other thing I would just challenge you guys, if this sounds like something that you want to implement inside of your company, please reach out. You can send that email directly to me, sales@grow, or you can email sales@grow.com. So we have a few questions coming in. So the first one is, does it ever hurt morale if you're having a bad month? That's one of the scariest things for me, was putting data up on a screen and holding myself accountable. And so the answer is, do people feel down? Yeah, I think they feel down, but I think if you have the right people on the team, they feel more of a drive to hit those results than they do feel a sense of bad. We had a bad month in August. It was our worst month of the entire year. But then we bounced back and we had our best month ever in September. So I think if you have the right people that have resolve, and you preach the resolve and that you can overcome, the dashboard doesn't solve all problems that way. So we have a couple more questions. What do you think is the best metric, the most important metric you use to hold reps accountable? Great question. For us, it is the demo set metric. So out of every inbound lead that you're getting and every outbound lead that you're mining, what is the conversion of those into demos? That is the effort metric to me that matters. Now, I think that we've done a good job of saying, hey, everybody across the board can close fairly well. Now we have some A++ closers, we have some A+ closers, and some A closers. And I'd like to say we don't have anybody that's not at least an A closer on the team. But the effort metrics behind getting a lead to an actually listen to on a demo has been probably the most impactful for us. When we started tracking that on a dashboard, that 1.5x in a month. So let's see, the next question is, what do you think is the best KPI for your company you've tracked to help drive growth out of all the ones that you talked about? The one that I think has helped, the sales team is different than the entire team, but like I said earlier, our team rallied around an overall revenue growth number. We had it set, and we hit that number in July, so we had to reset it, and we had to refocus on that specific metric. And it just so happens that everybody in the company gets a little bit of a bonus if we hit those numbers. So there was more factors to that. That everyone focused on revenue, and everyone did their part to increase revenue. Does that mean in customer success that they could upsell? Does that mean in product they could focus on features that would help retention a little bit more? Everybody did their part for that number.
Hey, Jake, I have a question. So my question is, have you found, since we started putting dashboards up for everyone to see, have you found a difference in churn on the sales team? I don't know if you know the answer, but I'd be curious with that.
Yeah, great question. We've had zero voluntary churn on the sales team. And I say voluntary because we have had some churn, but it was involuntary on the reps' part. It becomes very evident very quickly that someone may not be as committed or may be classified as a B player, and those guys don't hang around very long. No one likes to see their name. I mean, you could call it public shaming if you want, and that's kind of a negative term, but no one wants to see their name at the bottom of a list repeatedly. And so it's almost mutually beneficial to see that, and people move themselves out of a position that they're not in very quickly. So someone wanted us to get back to this dashboard, I think. Show the metrics by sales reps again, and zoom in so we can see the quota line. So yeah, I'm on a PC, but yeah, we can zoom in here. Or actually, let me use this feature that we have to zoom in. I don't know why I was adding it, but there, you can see this a little bit more in depth. You could change it to a column chart if you wanted and see that a little bit better. Here's the quota line, which is 6K of MRR, or $72,000 a month per rep. And our quotas change. Our quotas over doubled since we started this year. So not only do reps produce better, but the more is demanded out of them over time. So all right, that is, do we have time for more questions, Hank? We have a few more that have rolled in.
We've got a little more time, yeah.
Okay. Which one should we answer next? So the one question is, do you have customers in retail, more specifically in the retail food and beverage industry that you grow? The answer is yes. We have customers from everything from education to online retailers to in-person retailers, Fortune 500 companies to manufacturers. It's really wild when people ask me what niche we focus on, because we don't focus on a niche, which is probably a slap on the back of the hand for me. We probably should focus more on one, but it just works for everybody. If the data can be exposed, it can work. So does showing sales number to the entire company put a lot of pressure on you? We found that instead of pressure, we get more support and help from everyone, even the CS team working to get referrals. Okay. Sorry, I already answered that one. That was the answer. Great. Well, that looks about like we've answered all of the questions today. Again, I would be happy to have any more personalized conversations, just jake@grow.com. Thank you all for attending today, and look forward to growing together with you guys over the next year. Thanks so much.